Got it. All right. So good morning, everyone, on our side, and good morning, evening, wherever you are. I hope everyone is doing good. I'm glad that you made it, and this is going to be a spectacular event because we are going to talk about one of the most important things in life, and that is wealth creation. Every day, everyone is waking up, going to work, doing business, or working for someone, working for government organization. At the end of the day, you must get a paycheck to support your livelihood. But life is beyond just a little paycheck. If we get one paycheck, why not two? Why not three? Why not infinity? So we are here to answer those questions, and we have in our midst our distinguished guest, Ernest Lequimboh. I'll read his bio for you to understand a little bit of his background. So Ernest Lequimboh is an award-winning author of 10 investments you must take before 40, The Guide to Financial Freedom. He is also an alumnus of the Duke of Edinburgh Commonwealth Conference of Global Leaders and Policy, and is a policy official with the government of Nunavut in Canada. Ernest is a former chair of the board of directors of the African and Caribbean Associations of Nunavut. He's very interested in current trends, particularly regarding business and financial literacy. His recently published book is meant to address financial literacy amongst youth, which is a missing piece in most curriculum in Africa and the West. Join me in welcoming Mr. Lequimboh. So, Ernest, if there's anything you would like to have an open statement, please go ahead before we dive into the questions of today.
Thank you, Enoch, for inviting me for this very important. I see over 24 participants, and I believe this is a changing environment for most youths, and particularly I see a lot joining from Africa, and this is where my focus is. And as an African as well, I grew up with the lack of this knowledge, and now that I have it, I feel the desire to give back. It's really awesome to see your organization made up of, I can see, I don't know if there's anybody above 40, when my focus is below 40. And if I can see this category of people, young people and youths in your organization, I really believe that these events of today will change lives.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't believe anyone here might be about 40, but who knows? Age is just a number. Might look younger, but when you're old, so you might be looking old when you're younger. So it's a mixture of feelings. Anyway, let's go beyond that. So writing a book is not just like a walk in the park. What inspired you to write about this book?
Thank you, Enoch. That is a very important question because most people feel that writing a book is to be rich. And I'll tell you the contrary. You don't get rich writing a book. And what inspired me is my investments. 2 years ago, I got into triplex. I'm into real estate. If you know a little bit about myself, I'm into real estate. And 2 years ago, I got into triplex. Triplex is a multi-unit buildings in Canada, and the interest rate was slumped over the hikes, and we got increase of over 1,500 on our mortgage. And I needed to pay that, and fortunately or unfortunately, my wife was not working, and I also had a bouncing baby boy, which all of this came to play, and I had to maintain the investments, I had to maintain the property, right? So I got into uh, researching about realtors, and I got a realtor who
Yeah.
used me, I should say, used me. So I was so ignorant at that time, right? And I thought of if I had this knowledge about real estate and had to do it by myself. So I'm so dumbfounded when somebody takes advantage. Like sometimes you see knowledge that you're supposed to have and you don't have. And that is why Ann Landers says that if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Once you're ignorance, you bear the grudge, you pay it with your life. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that all of you guys are here today to listen and also be knowledgeable in the areas that you are investing in. Because even Einstein, when Einstein said, the day you stop learning, that's the day you start dying. Every knowledge is important. And once you underestimate an opportunity that you have, you're going to pay with your life. So I paid a lot with my life, with my struggles and everything last 2 years. But at the end of the day, I came out of that strong. And I believe that young people who are investing who are into real estate shouldn't go through what I went through. And I'm exposing the myth and what investments is. It goes beyond just financial investments. So
Yeah.
I've written a lot about other aspects which are human capacity building, which you need to be able to invest, which is what I did not have. Now that I have, I want to give back to young people. The reason I specialize, like you see, if my book in my book, I said before 40, if you're so blessed now, in maybe in the West, you'll live 80 years at most.
Mm,
Sometimes
mm.
if you are maybe struggling over somewhere, you might live maybe 85 or maybe 90. And that means that 40 should be you must, by 40, you must have lived half your life on earth. You
Yeah.
put it together. Once I'm
Yeah.
speaking, you put the maths together, right? So if you cannot set this standard and make sure that you have your things set by 40, after 40, it comes marriage, it comes responsibility, it comes kids, it comes other educational aspects that you will take
Yeah.
hold of you. So
Yeah.
you won't be able to dive into the investments that you are supposed to at for before 40. So above 40, you have to rush and catch up with all those investments that you didn't do before 40. And one of which is rushing to buy 10 investments you must make before 40 because it's a guide that every home needs.
Absolutely. So the key word I see there is that I went through it. So because I went through it, I must give it back. So the
Right,
kind of community responsibility. So, and it's amazing that you first failed, you first stumbled, then you're like, okay, this is a wake-up call. So it's a lesson that we
right.
should use our misfortunes to our fortunes. It can inspire us. Not every bad thing that happens to you is terrible. If you go religious, you start binding demons in Jesus' name. This happened to me, but it can be a saving lesson for you. Absolutely. So, one of the intriguing parts of it, because from I've read the book, one of the intriguing chapter is about mentorship. So, you emphasize mentorship a lot. How does mentorship really correspond to investments here? Why is it so important that you had to make it chapter one? For me, I thought you'd make chapter one getting access to finance or credit. So tell us about that.
And look, that's a very interesting piece.
Mm,
In the 10 investments you must make before 40, I capitalize on mentorship. Why? Because there's a lot that we try by ourselves.
mm,
We fail, and fail,
mm,
right?
mhm.
We feel that we can do it by ourselves, and we feel that it is costly to get a mentor. The investments that you do on your mentor liberates you from the failures that you have, that will crunch you and even demoralize you, discourage you.
Yes.
So in chapter one, I made it so clear that in going to a path that you have never gone, even in life, in total, like in general, you have to
Yeah.
have a mentor. Where do you want to go? And you can
Mm,
have 7, 8 mentors. This is very clear. And I've explained a lot in chapter one about having different mentors in different areas. So if you are might be interested in real estate, what do you
mm,
need? I don't know how African real estate works, but I do a case study in Ottawa which where is that's where I have a lot of properties, and I think that I can use it to explain a larger to the larger audience, right?
Yeah.
So if you have someone in that area, the best
Mm,
investment you can do at that time is to pay that mentor a certain proportion of where you want to go. That
mm,
mentor will liberate you from the errors that you made along the line.
mm,
It's very, very important for youth or young people before 40 because this is a cutting edge. And we are going through cutting edge technology, artificial intelligence, which I've talked about in my book. I talk about using the tools that are we have been exposed to by AI,
yeah.
chatbox, ChatGPT, and all of that, which I've explained, fintech, and all of that, e-commerce.
Mm,
All of this has been elaborated in further chapters, maybe 8 and 9. And to have somebody who have already gone through that trend, it saves you a lot. And it's most importantly, it's a great saving for yourself because you're going to learn and you're going to relieve yourself from all the stress. I have this, I currently manage a townhome. I don't know. I always reference my life in Canada because I'm not really that familiar again because it's been a long time I came to Africa and I think 9 years and above. So I cannot make references to a lot of things in Africa, but I'll use my situation and my current investments as an examples, which I think you will also learn from it. Or you have to get but the idea. You have to get
mm,
but what
yeah.
I'm trying to pass across
Yes.
and implement it in wherever you find yourself. Maybe Kenya,
Yeah.
maybe Cameroon, or maybe Uganda or wherever. The concept is the same. It's just
Yes.
that the environment is different.
Yeah.
And once you have somebody who has already done this, that person can charge you something. It is safe to pay that charge and get that information because knowledge is expensive. And
Yes.
as I said, if you think it's that expensive that you cannot pay, you pay with your life in ignorance.
Yeah.
It might be
Absolutely.
harsh. The words might be harsh, but that is the reality. That is the
Yeah.
reality that us before 40, we have to know and we have to take cognizance of. Because once you get hold of this, my brother, my sisters, everything is going to be set for you in life. For those who are Christians and Muslims, I talked about this in most of my speech making. I said, this is the second book after your Bible and the second book after your Quran. It's the reality. It's everyone when I launched this just you were present. I launched this just last I think last Saturday.
Last
That was on
Saturday.
the
Yeah.
30th of November. And you were present, you saw the turnout, and everyone who bought the book came for a second copy.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, just to tell you, they told me this is the best gift they can give anyone at this time. Best Christmas gift. Because knowledge is
Focus.
expensive as well.
Yes, absolutely. So mentorship
Yeah.
very key, very important.
Very, very key.
It saves you a lot of money, it saves you a lot of hurdles. So in life, you may not be an investor, but you might want to be an engineer, you might want to be wherever you want to be. Get someone who's doing that. You know, the problem I've seen is that we think just because someone is successful by society standards, he knows everything. Someone is successful in business. He's not successful, maybe business like real estate. He cannot guide you in food industry. So get someone you want to, if you're in agriculture, get someone, a big entrepreneur in agriculture who can show you the way. If you want to be a politician, get a mentor who's in politics to help you. So we avoid these shortcuts. And doesn't mean having a mentor is like a compass of your life. You also make your decisions. Yeah. So that's very important, mentorship. And that's why
So,
African Rebirth will emphasize mentorship more to bring people who have gone through that to inspire others. But returning to investments, because investments, people think when you say, I'm an investor, when someone tells you he's an investor, the first thing that runs in your mind, he has millions of dollars in the account, or he has invested billions or millions, multi-millions projects. What are some of the myths we must debunk about investments? that are hindering our progress.
That's very interesting, Enoch. I think I will just circle back on the last question.
Mhm.
One of the things I wanted to highlight is the mentor might not always be the right person, might not always be right. You have to get this
Yeah,
very clear.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So on two, three occasions, you'll be able to identify whether or not he's guiding you towards the right path. And in order to know, you must know where you want to go. This is very critical because um I know Enoch knows about this, but I've had some mentors that I tend to regret for my life, like in my entire life, you know.
Mhm.
So you have to be very careful. You have to, the fact that somebody is 50, the fact that somebody is 60 or 70 or 80 doesn't qualify him to be a mentor.
Exactly.
It's
Age.
the ideas that that person is giving you and whether those ideas leads you to the path you want to go. You must be able to identify that route.
Yeah.
Where do I want to go and who is going towards that route that can be able to guide me? These questions must be answered. If they are not answered, and if the answer is no, then that is not the right mentor, right?
Yeah.
Then coming back to your question, to demystify the investments, the myth surrounding investment is because, there are a couple of things. I'll highlight a few. So one major thing, when I always love to quote Chris Ridike when he said that if there is no risk, there is no reward. You must be ready to
Mhm.
take risk.
Mhm.
You must be ready to take risk. This is one of the major thing that we don't do, especially us from Africa. And one major thing is you want to get money to start investing. That is a very, very dangerous idea.
Repeat
That
it
is
again.
very, very dangerous. You want to get money or you want to raise capital to start investing. That is a very,
Mhm.
very dangerous idea. There are two types of investments. So you have to go first through the human capital aspect.
Mhm.
Where do I want to go? What do I need? First, I've talked about artificial intelligence. I've talked about tools that you can use exposed to us by AI. These tools will take over your life. Whether you like it or not, you have to learn it. You have to use it. And once you use these tools, you will be able to narrow down your scope, narrow down whatever you're thinking and your thoughts. One major thing in investing, you have a lot of ideas. You have a lot of investment ideas that are hitting your memory every day. As I speak, I see a lot of people thinking about what do I need to invest in.
Mhm.
Those ideas come all the time. You have to have a jotter. You have to have a book all the time and a pen. Once they come, you have to write them down because the idea comes, but there is a strategy. If you don't have that strategy, you won't be able to realize this. That's why you suppose, like in any forum, if you attend an investment forum or might be a meeting, this you must write. There's no way, there are no two ways. There you must have that clear idea of where I want to go. And sometimes there are challenges along the way. People will discourage you. People will feel like, just let me give share my experience writing a book. People felt that, oh, this guy, what is he talking about? He's not Donald Trump. He's not um, Bill Gates. He's talking about investments. You know what I mean? People
Mhm.
just tend to downgrade, tend to undermine,
Yes.
especially when you are in the circle of people who have already made it. So these tendencies will kill your spirit. But I tell you, I'm a Christian. I believe that I talked about prayer and fasting in one of the chapters. So it goes beyond just having that idea. You have
Mhm.
to concretize the idea through your own measures. If you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, you have to put God into play in those ideas. You must, it's a must. I don't care whether I cannot say that I cannot undermine any effort. I cannot say, oh, um, people don't believe are not rich, but the essence is not being rich. It's getting financial security. Financial security is not building wealth. These are the myths. These are what people think, and they feel that, oh, to say that, oh, you are financially secure is that you are rich.
Mhm.
This
Mhm.
is deep. You must understand to come to a point where you feel that you can meet your dear needs, you can conveniently take care of your family without necessarily being stressed. This is where I want our young people before 40 to be. It's
Mm-hmm.
not acquiring 10 properties or it's not acquiring 20 properties because those properties as well comes with a lot of stress and debts. I'll use an example like Canada. Canada, what if somebody tell you I'm in real estate? That guy is in deep, like there's a lot of loans debt that is carrying along. Because to get a place
Yeah.
here is not like Africa where you need to just pay it off. These are mortgages. These are loans from the bank,
Mm.
which are more stressful than you who is in Africa who has paid off your house and you're living freely. These are the myths. These are things that we're supposed to take cognizance. You must, there's no two ways. You must be able to realize that, oh, to be an investor, I must be ready to take a risk. Um, so my question is, what is your risk tolerance? You
Mm-hmm.
might not want to answer it now, but you have to answer it. There's no way.
Mm.
If you're an investor, you must be able to answer this question. Thank you.
Absolutely, very good. So one thing I get is you don't have to be a billionaire to start investing. That's number one. Number two, you don't invest first to get money.
Yeah,
You just to get money. So don't reach. There are people say, "Oh, next year I'm saving. Next year becomes next year. Next year becomes 10 years. Next year, 10 years." So start where you are right now. And
start
I
right
think
now.
what I get from your your submission is also define what you want. Now, there are people who say, "Okay, there's real estate. There's money in real estate. Someone goes to real estate because they said there's money in real estate. But for you, what do you say? What is your risk tolerance? It's very, very key.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's this an elephant in the room about financial literacy. There's a lot of seminars right now. There's a lot of
Good,
what define for us what does it entail to be financially literate? What is financial
good.
literacy? Yes.
Thank you, Enoch. I thank you for following up because I know I was going to touch on that. And what those are one like it's just one of those motivational factors that made me write the book.
Mm.
Because if you look at the curriculum in Africa and the West, and or maybe I don't know, I cannot speak what has taken place or what has changed over time,
Yeah.
but we are graduating students to depend on the system.
Yes.
Take it or leave it. It's meant to graduate students who will depend on the system and work for people.
Yes.
Your curriculum should be able to produce independent graduates that will start businesses of their own, that will sustain their families. I shouldn't graduate from a university and start asking my parents to rent me an apartment or a room.
Yes.
10 investments before 40 provides that path. It gives you a roadmap where you want to be. And I talked about leveraging these tools, artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT and Chatbox, because these are cutting edge technologies that won't leave us. They will only be modified. Take it or leave it. So financial literacy is our ability to be able to take stock of one. I've talked about budgeting. I've talked about managing credit. I've talked about lines of credit. In I think that was chapter 6. I mentioned key aspects that touch and concern our life, which we deal with it on a daily basis. Because I'm like I said again, I'm using the Canadian standards and using examples from the Canadian system. I talked a lot about managing credit and managing lines of credit and credit cards because these are things that touch and concern our daily life. We use it every day.
Every day.
Being literate, being literate on these simple aspects can turn your life around. And this is a challenge we have because the we tend to feel that, oh, I will save my money in the bank. That is a very bad thing, my brother. You don't save money in the bank.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're bankers here, but I have to say this. Nobody's gonna take me anywhere for saying this. So I'm writing this because I'm saying this because I've written it. If it was wrong, anybody, it is my book is on Amazon. If Amazon can publish my book, it means that it's authentic and there's no plagiarism. There's nothing that I'm saying that is politically driven. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
you cannot save your money in the bank and become rich. There's never. You'll never have some financial security. How much, like for us, like just us in Canada, how much do you have saving $10,000 in a bank for a year? Maximum is maybe 20, $30. Yeah.
Hmm.
What if I use that 10,000 to get penny stocks? I'll get at least 200 penny stocks.
Yeah.
Good penny stocks that I will do my research on, and I'll see the prospects of those penny stocks, and I'll leave that 10,000 for 5 years. If I leave it for 5 years with those stocks, guaranteed I'll be a millionaire in the next five
Mm.
years. Guaranteed. I can tell you this because I only got to know about this and I only tested this in 2020, right? So if I had bought more, where will I be today? You understand, right? So
Hmm.
those are simple ideas, demystifying the financial literacy and also demystifying investments. I've talked about investment as extending beyond physical assets and financial resources, which encompass the development of our human capacity.
Yeah.
And human capacity, one of which is financially literacy. Being financially literate can turn your life around because some of these opportunities we're just not aware. So being aware of that is being financially literate.
Perfect. Budgeting, investments. So you talk about managing lines of credit. Credit is across,
Yeah.
even Africa, people borrow. So
Yeah.
the world really is not really different. The
Yeah.
world
It's not
has a
different.
template. The world has a
Yeah.
template. It's just the means to templates. So
Yeah.
lines of credit and micro lending. I
Yeah.
know a lot like the right now there are a few like small micro lending circles in most African countries. So they also manage credit. How do you manage credit? How do you invest? You find someone who says that I have millions of money on account. I am saving for the future in a bank. So what banks do, they get your saving, lend it to someone going to do a business, and you're still paying.
There
That's
you
how
go.
it really works.
There you go.
And that's why
Now,
the richer are
now,
getting
now,
richer and the poorer are getting poorer because the poorer are saving money in the bank. Very
now
good.
you got the concept.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got the concept. The banks take that money, give it to investors,
Yes.
give it out to investors at high interest rates.
Yeah.
Why you are the one putting their money in the bank for them to be able to give it out as loans.
That's loans. Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Perfect. I'm coming to the end of my questions so that we open it up to the audience. I know they have so many questions,
So many
but I
questions.
can't leave what the sum of you mentioned a little bit of the challenges you had writing a book, and I know the same challenges you used to overcome. People can use them to overcome even other similar challenges. They may not be authors, but they may be, trying to come out with certain challenge. What are the some of the challenges and the lessons learned you could share?
Thank you, and that's a very interesting question. And this is what everyone should take away because I'll borrow from Michael Jordan. He said, I accept failure.
Yeah.
Everyone can fail, right?
Yes.
Everyone fails. But I can't accept not trying. That is very deep.
Mm,
I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something. But what I cannot accept is not trying. So one
absolutely.
of the lessons, one of the difficult um part of investing is that we should be ready to accept when things go away, when they don't go the way we wanted.
Yeah.
Losing. Even I can borrow from Donald Trump. Donald Trump said,
Yes.
sometimes by losing, you find a way to win the war.
Yeah. And he
Because
won
they
the
lose,
war.
by losing, you get those lessons in order to win.
Mm.
This is very deep. And you see what he has used. Nobody would have imagined that will get Donald Trump again as president of the United States. By losing, you get those strategies to win. So my greatest challenge will not just be by losing because I don't consider that as losing when I did invest in triplex. My uh, those are just natural challenges
Yeah.
because I was ignorance, there was lack of information. So um,
Hmm.
I believe that sometimes you feel that, oh, I've invested a lot in this and nothing came out of it, right? You tend to give up. What I will say to you is at that time, the lessons learned in every challenge, there is what you take out of those challenges or those difficult moments is the lessons. You draw the lessons. You do business after in second chapter 2, I talk about the right partnership. You do business with a lot of people, and those people will teach you lessons. Some will be bad, some will be good. The only thing you will take out of it is the good lessons and build on those good lessons to be able to be a better investor. Today, as we speak, just an hour from now, I'll be receiving my award from Raymond Aron, the New York Times best-selling author, right? So there are things that you do and things that, oh, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, you have to put that faith. You have to be determined. Because if I wasn't determined, maybe I would have lost the properties. Maybe I wouldn't have written this book because how what it takes to write a book. All these challenges will come. You will fail, you have to pick up, you lose money, you have to go back and invest.
Absolutely.
Investment is the right way. And investing is not just financial, it's not just building wealth. Invest in yourself. And one of those ways is to take advantage of cutting edge technologies. As a DevOps, I did DevOps 2 years ago. I wasn't interested in maybe taking DevOps as a career because I'm already a policy official with the government. And the reason I did this was because you must keep yourself abreast with the changing standards in life. You must. There's no way. And DevOps is one of those things that if I have friends that earn over 200 to $250,000 a year, right? Just sitting home and getting stuff done on DevOps. And the artificial intelligence and ChatGPT are those cutting edge technology tools that you have to use because at the end of the day, these tools are being used by others, and you seated back will take you might lose your job because you don't know it, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I cannot emphasize enough on this because eventually they will be used and they are produced because they have to be used. So
Absolutely.
I cannot say I'm not a techie guy. I'm not into IT. I won't be able to learn AI. That is one of the easiest investments you can do by just learning the tools and leveraging the tools for the goals that you have set for yourself.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ernest. And I think for that, we'll open it to the audience. If you have questions, Anthony, I see questions from Anthony. Ask questions, state your name, where you come from, and try to make it short. And then raise up your hand like Anthony did, and we'll notice you and ask. So, and from where you get the copy, we'll talk about it at the end. So I'm sure everyone is curious, where do you get these 10 investments, 10 investments you make before 40? So Anthony, you have a questions. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Anthony Sadala Sebit, South Sudan. That's from South Sudan. Maybe mine is more of comment because professionally I am an accountant professionally. Like I did CPA presently, masters like CPA level 6. Maybe somewhere we might differ from one point to another, or is about bank. Okay, we understand that like for you to even a rich person does not have money in the bank
Good,
financially.
good.
A rich person does not have money in the bank. A rich
Hmm.
person has assets, and those assets are counted as like they look at the value of that, and that
Yeah.
brings us to the point of the TVM, the time value of money. We bring that concept there. Because
Hmm.
if you look at the money now, for you to be an investor, you're looking at if I put $100 today, next year I expect this $100 to be 110 because the time value of money varies. If you wait for next year, it might depreciate or it might not be the same like the one of this year. So looking at the banking, at the end of the day, still somewhere, regardless that we want, you need to be so disciplined financially, not to bank because I know the interest the bank is taking. Like if I'm having a saving account, I am depositing. Let me say, every month I'm depositing $3,000. The bank will take that $3,000, invest and give someone as a credit. Then that person will pay the bank 4,000. Then the bank will give me 3,200, or the bank will return the same money I'm keeping. So, and somewhere also we need to look at the safety of money. How are we going to do that? Regardless that we're not going to consider the bank, either out of that, in a point of investment, we need to put at least the bank as 30% part of our goal. But now,
Hmm.
since we are not going to consider it, what best way are we going to do to make sure that our money is somewhere safe? Regardless that we have the investment, what other method are we going to do to make sure that our money is safe? Because we have the ethics, like the 6 principles of finance, they are
Hmm.
all there. 6 principles of finance, they are all there, and we are all following it. And but now at the end of the day, we need to look at how are you going to do that. Don't you think we can dive outside that a little bit? Or what? Thank you so much.
This is a very interesting piece. Anthony, thank you for that question. I will first of all clarify this. They must be You must be clear on what you want. Do you want safety of your investments? Do you want safety of your money? So these two things you have to answer. And secondly, I posed a question which I knew you were going to answer at some point. I said, what is your risk tolerance? So these questions must be answered. So I encourage people who go for the first, like for the latter, you say you want security of your money. Please go to the bank. Please do. For those who really want to invest, I've talked in chapter 6, I talked about land, who wants security and also want investments. I've talked about land. I've mentioned strategies to acquire and strategies to manage. First, there's less investment in land. Secondly, there's guaranteed, it's secured. All you need is to get the right partners. They will be able to secure it for you. You leave it there, you are not investing anything on it anymore. You can leave it for 5, 6 years. The same value that you get, that you think that the bank will give you, the bank will never give you that value.
Absolutely.
This is just simple logic.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, I know you are an accountant. You know you deal with a lot of money in the banks, but these are the realities. And one of the things that we have discussed with my partners is having to start an institute known as Real Life Institute. This real life deals with these realities that we're talking about. This we are not phantom. We're not thinking about things that are in the sky. These are real life issues that we're addressing. And 10 investments you must make provide a roadmap where to start from and where you want to be. And you leverage the opportunities that AI is giving us. You must be able to leverage these opportunities. If you
Mhm.
have maybe I didn't talk about Bitcoin, but and I don't want to talk about it because I'm not into gambling. But at some point, if you are that type where you have a high risk tolerance, you must be able to get into it because either ways, Bitcoin is taking over the world. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Anthony, and I think you got the reply. And you talked about land. Very, very, very important because land is the only asset that doesn't depreciate. It appreciates, you know. And if you, and then I like this, do you save your money in the bank or you buy properties in land? Very, very good. So any other question, please? Don't be shy. Ask questions. So, Anthony, is it a follow-up or what?
It's okay. Anyway, mine is there's a question posed to us like in the class currently. It's about risk tolerance, if I'm not mistaken. That question is posed to us. But in the ethics of finance, of course, we have the risk tolerance, the business administration, all those things. But we, of course, we are asked to answer. I don't know whether we can give it now or we wait for later and all those things.
Uh, yeah, sure. You can answer it now. You can answer it now if you want, but be brief.
Okay. Now, of course, now if I'm to answer it, I think it has some factors. It has important points that one need to consider because, like, when you're answering the question of risk tolerance, it's not just a one paragraph or one line statement. Of course, we need to understand all the point attached to
For
it.
that matter, you
Like, of course,
prepare.
one of them is the
For that matter,
maybe
you
we can. Sorry.
prepare a PowerPoint and you share it with us. No problem. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's
Oh,
okay. I have to skip that one for now. Thank
thank
Yeah,
you.
you.
just to come back to that. So with that question, you cannot just answer at random, right? You must be able to define what you want. It is defining where you want to go in your investment ideas that you want to define or determine how much risk I want to bear. For example, you cannot by just in this forum and say, oh, my risk tolerance on investments or land is this. Why? Because you are not ready yet. For
Mhm.
example, let me just give you a classic example. You have a land of maybe costing maybe $300. I don't know what value is that in any country, but you now see, okay, you have another opportunity to get into maybe another business. So you have to determine, given these options, that is where your risk comes. You cannot just say, oh, I have this risk on everything. No, you cannot have the same risk tolerance on everything.
Right.
So these are things that you have to sit back, step
And
back. Where do I want to go? What risks do I want to bear? All these questions must be answered individually.
exactly.
Individually. They are contestable because your risk tolerance on land or maybe real estate is not my risk tolerance on real estate. So we see that people will have different ideas. They'll also have different goals that they are setting for their lives. And that's where they determine their risk. Somebody might not even want to invest because the risk tolerance for investment is very low because her risk is very low. I'd rather go invest my money in the bank because I don't have a high risk tolerance. So I believe that the bank will secure my money. So you guys have to be able to understand this level, talked about maybe your individual risks depending on your individual desires or investment areas.
Absolutely. Good.
Maybe I can just give a key point about the definition of risk tolerance. I don't know whether
Mm-hmm,
it's on me, right?
mm-hmm.
Because if you look at to my understanding, definition of risk tolerance refers to an individual's organization's ability and a willingness to endure fluctuations in the value of investment or financial decisions. It represents the level of financial risk and a person is comfortable taking when pursuing potential returns on investment. And of course,
That's
that's
correct.
what we need to look. Yeah, what we
Mm-hmm.
need to look within the aspect of if I put my money in the bank, is it going to make for me any sense? Is it going to get for me something? Or
Yeah.
I am just wasting? Because keeping money in the bank, trust me, it's a one way of wasting the money, making the
Mm-hmm.
money valueless. than if I can buy at least 4 to 5 plots with that money, put some rentals, and at the end of the day, every month I'm getting money. Every month I'm getting some
Yeah.
money out of the rent. Than
Right.
keeping, when they're keeping the money in the bank, you are happy to see figures because the bank is keeping figures, not cash. Those
Right.
are all figures.
Good.
So keeping figures in the bank makes your money valueless. You cannot say I am rich when you don't have a plot. I
Yeah.
am rich when you only have tires or flares of vehicles. That is not richness. That is
Yeah.
sign of poverty in business.
Right.
So if you look at, like, that's why we have the key aspect of
I'm
risk
going to
tolerance. One of
interrupt
them is
you, Anthony. I'm going
psychological
to interrupt you and give
psychological
chance to
willing.
Daniel
It's okay. It's
ask
okay.
question. Yes.
No, but
Daniel,
I love his contributions. I think people are benefiting from that. It's just expatiating on what I presented, and that is very good. It means we are on the same page, and people should be able to capture ideas from each and everyone.
Daniel,
Yes, thank you, Mr. Ernest, for a very wonderful presentation. It's really so insightful. And I just want you to maybe elaborate more on what are your views on the bank bonds? Is it a safe bet, or what do you think of that?
For sure. I don't have my book here, but I deal with that in chapter, I think 7, which is a very lucrative area and secured as well, as Antonio was explaining. So that is a very good area as well. I in Canada we have also RSPs, and we have TFSAs and other options that are similar. That is a very good area that I also mentioned. I've dealt with it extensively, and you'll be able to read the strategies as well. That's a good question.
All right, thank you. And
You're
just
welcome.
another follow-up. Basically, how do you turn an idea into an investment?
Good, good. I think in one of the quotes I made, I talked about you having to write, having to judge, having to be able to make notes at every instance, whether in a forum, in a discussion, even when you think about something, just actioning it by writing gives you opportunity to fall back and think about the strategies. That is how you already start investing. Because I'm very good at proposal writing. And how do I do that? It's building on my ideas. So once you craft these ideas that you have, put it on paper, you develop it, it becomes a business plan. It becomes a business proposal. You can even sell it. You can even sell it. In chapters 9.5, I have a business proposal that I wrote. I have no funding for that. It's a project, a clearly defined project from start to end, costing $3 million, which if you buy that book, you'll see it clearly written. I talk about digitalizing of healthcare and how we can be able to create a global website that we will be able to access healthcare, reduce risk, and also improve care for everyone globally. So that's already an idea into an investment. If I take that project, for example, Microsoft, I just had a meeting last week with the president of Microsoft. So I didn't talk about it, but I talk about my book. But if he buys that book, he will see the project in there. He will ask me then, how much can I buy this proposal? Because it's a well-crafted proposal, which you don't need any other investment. All you need is to implement because you don't have funding. But if you have funding, all you need is to start implementing. So your idea becomes an investment when you craft it down and put it as a business proposal or a business plan or a project as well. You can sell it.
Thank
People are
you.
people are
Yeah,
very
thank
ready
you.
to buy.
very good,
Thank you
good
very much.
submission
Yeah.
from Anthony and Daniel. Good, good.
And
Absolutely.
I Enoch, let me just drop this. I think it's very good if people can be able to. I don't know if Amazon sells in Africa or something. So that major project that I talked about is in. I can remember everything because it's the book I wrote, right? 9.5, chapter 9.5. It clearly states the steps And for those who are into IT, I thought it's an IT project, it's an agile project, iteration, and creating an option where we can be able to have a team of lawyers, engineers, and also doctors in the team to be able to build that application. I believe that we can always work on that if people are interested. In that chapter, I reference that if you're interested, please reach out. So we are building a team for that, and it is a very good project. If at some point I feel that I want to sell it, I'll sell it, right? So
Yeah.
that's already an idea which
Yeah.
has become money in the making. Okay, thank you so much.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Anthony and Daniel. Please, others, do you have question? Do you have contribution? You don't have to have a question. You can contribute your expertise, like Anthony was talking about counting, because these are all debatable things. Uh, it's nothing permanent here. Either you can debate either way. Any other question? Contribution? So my primary teacher used to say, if you teach and there is no question, there are two things involved. You're either convinced or confused. I hope today you're not confused. You are convinced and it's understandable. So I know Ernest has another meeting to catch up. We'll just do like a debunk, a review of it. So Ernest,
I think
what
Mangala had, I cannot say the name, but she had a question.
Daniel,
Mangala,
okay,
so.
Daniel still has.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Are we allowed? Are we allowed to if he can share his contacts with us? Yeah. If that is allowed.
Of course, he's allowed. Of course, yeah,
Right.
he's allowed. Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Anthony,
No, mine is just like a kind of comment. I don't know whether suggestion if we can be allowed to make, or sometimes for us to learn, we are not just learning is not a process of answering a question as a flat question like a primary. We need to elaborate. I don't know. We need to be given time to elaborate because when someone is making a statement, you need to make a statement with examples. Okay, because of this. I don't know whether we are going to be given that time. One, then one, two is the time that we are allocated for the class. How long is it? Like 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes, so that we are able to squeeze ourselves within the time. Otherwise, thank you. But I appreciate the elaboration from our
thank
teacher
you.
or lecturer.
This is not a lecture. I don't like lectures at all. Lectures are just an implementation of coursework.
That, that's far reaching. It shouldn't be a lecture.
You
It
should
should
know.
be a
Yeah,
discussion.
so the time
It be,
here we have usually is 1 hour and a half, and I think um, you've elaborated more. You made the point, Cass. So let's give point to Francie. Quick question, then Finari, then Helosa. Quick questions.
Yeah.
Go
Uh,
on.
Good evening, everybody, everyone.
Hello.
Uh, Good evening, Mr. Ernest.
good evening.
The For the presentation so far, I am France from Cameroon. I am currently based in Cameroon. It's a honor to meet a model, Cameroonian model.
Yeah.
Uh, so my question is it's very simple. Um, Currently, I carry out a wide range of activities, but basically, I am a civil servant.
Okay.
I am a civil servant, and as you can know, the salary of civil servant in Cameroon is very, very small to get the financial security.
Mhm.
So my question is very simple. It's what strategy or step can I take to push myself out of my comfort zone? Because there is a decade that I'm civil servant, and even if I have a lot of idea of investment, etc., I also file some investment project, and I have this fear in myself who who can block me. I'm francophone. Sorry. So how should I do to overcome from this comfort zone and access to the growth?
Mhm.
Um,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, Franz. I think the first question I will ask you is, what is your desire? Where do you want to go? You must define this. Where do you want to go? Do you have, because in my book I talk about people having to be in areas where they don't have the background and they don't have the desire to be, they don't have job satisfaction, right? You have to be able to define your, identify those are those innate skills that you have that you love and what you are doing that you really want to do. So once you answer those questions, you'll be able to define a path for yourself to do something that you love, and you go after the opportunities that are out there. If you want to get into IT, for example, I talked about artificial intelligence. I will limit my discussions to the book because in explaining, I've given steps. For example, in this real estate that I talked about, I gave simple 10 steps to get into real estate. And I gave a case study. So if you are someone who really love something, which I don't know now, first is to do a thorough research. I mentioned penny stocks. You cannot just go around buying any penny stock. You must be able to do thorough research in the area of interest. Where do I want to be? What are those opportunities that I can tap into? If you cannot be, I also am a civil servant, and I cannot tell you that um, I cannot compare the civil servant status of Canada and Cameroon. It's far, far, far way better in Canada. So
Yeah.
if I can do this and you believe that, oh, this is something that I want to do, if maybe you're going through real estate or maybe going through is too costly, you then look for a path that will lead you to where you want to go. You must start somewhere, and the time is now. It's not for you to have the capital that you need. There's one more motivation that I always get from this lady who is online, and most of you might know her, Benny Sanders, and also others who are talking about artificial intelligence and the tools that I talked about that you can use on YouTube. You don't need to pay $1. You don't need to pay a franc to be able to follow that lady to go through the steps that that lady is going. That is something that you must be able to identify that path. Then somebody is already doing it. Take it or leave it. Whatever you are thinking, all of us, I think we are almost 27 now in this call. Anything that you're thinking right now, somebody have thought about it. Take it or leave it. So you must expose yourself out there, do a thorough research to be able to find out what is there for me. And do I have a mentor who is already doing it, who can be able to, I can be able to leverage to get to where I want to go? These questions must be answered. Because whatever you're thinking, somebody have thought about it. Maybe that person thought about it but didn't realize it. Maybe somebody thought about it and is realizing it.
Yeah, thank you. Very good
Mhm.
question as well.
Thank you so much.
That's a very good question.
Yeah, very good. So Fenelli, then Helosa, then we'll do a closing remark.
Okay.
Fenelli.
Thank you so much for yeah. Thank you so much for giving me a speech. Good evening, everyone. So my name is Fanny and I'm from Madagascar. I'd like to express my deep gratitude to you, Mr. Ernest. It was a wonderful presentation, but I have some question. It's just one question. What could you give to us some suggestions on what we can do to face this risk tolerance? Thank you.
Mm,
That's a technical one. And I will try. I'll try. Um, Risk tolerance, like we explained, is very individualistic. And unless you have something on the table, you will be able to know your risks. You cannot know your risks unless you have a business idea. You have somewhere that you want to go. They don't know how much risks you want to maybe invest in that aspect. So if I can give you a classic example, it's just the penny stocks that I talked about, which is very, very classy. So if you do your research and find out, for example, let me give you some companies. which I can testify, and I know it's a little bit costly now to get to invest in them. If I get Nvidia, I get maybe Microsoft, I get Apple, or maybe Google, right?
Mhm.
If I'm bearing 100% risks on this, I'll never regret it. Never. There's never a day you lose investing in Microsoft or buying 3 shares, right? So my risk tolerance at this level is 100%. I'm going for it because I know 100% I'm going to get the profits. I can say this because I can testify I did invest in them, right? So these are just classic examples that I will give you. And you can switch it to any other maybe idea or investment idea that you have to be able to determine the success, right? The more successful a company is, the higher the risk tolerance for you to invest in them.
Absolutely. And speaking just for the case of relations, so Microsoft, you might be like when you're in Africa, it might be hard for you to invest in Microsoft. But there are companies back home you can invest in, like reputable companies when they're selling their shares. Usually, usually the financial year is July, August. So there are companies that are selling shares. Like for example, I know a lot of people know about MTN. It's a telecommunication company. So it sells its shares, buy from those reputable companies some shares. Banks sell their shares as well, you know. So and uh, because people think buying shares in a bank, you must be a millionaire, you must be someone with a lot of money.
Nah.
Not at all. Just walk to the bank and say, ask the creditor how many shares. If you have shares you're saying, let me know. And they're open to the public. You can buy shares from the national bank of your country. You can buy shares from the biggest companies in your country as well. So don't be limited. If you can't invest in Microsoft, Apple, wherever, there are Apple's sort of versions in the countries where you come from, regardless where you come from, that always means there to you to invest big. So I just wanted to relate that to the conditions of people. Yes, exactly. Rebecca?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Ernest, for I really enjoyed your interaction with Anthony. Well, it was really insightful. My name is Rebecca, and I am from Central African Republic. I have two questions for you. The first one would be uh, to get to know your advice on how to reconcile investment and entrepreneurship. Because according to me, those are two different things. So you can, entrepreneurship, according to me, is already a sort of investment, but you can't decide to invest. You can be an investor without going down this road of entrepreneurship. Okay, so how do I actually reconcile those two? Because like as an entrepreneur, I might need to get money or like to get some loans from whichever institution or whomever, and at some point I might also need to invest. So how do I reconcile those two? So that was my first question, and then the second one is would be to get to know what is your biggest setback, and how do you usually handle your setbacks? Thank you.
Wow. Those are very interesting questions. Yes, I'll begin with the first one. Reconcile entrepreneurship and investment is simple. Entrepreneur, you must be into business. You must be getting profit. You must be doing something that is yielding profits, right? An investor, you might not really in a typical explanation that I will give you, you see in your economics, if you did economics, they will be telling you about dormant partners, right? People who buy shares and they don't even know what is going on in the shares in the shares industry because they receive dividends at the end of the year. or and they're not even aware of how the business is run. This is an investor, but it's not an entrepreneur, right? So to reconcile this, I'll just give you this classic example. Somebody who has a restaurant is an entrepreneur, right? So if you kind of want to be that investor who doesn't want stress, because entrepreneurs are like dealing with stress on a daily basis, right? The ups and downs of the interest rates and the ups and downs of losing a profit or maybe losing money when the business is not going. But as an investor, you might want to just be a dormant partner. A dormant partner is you get those shares or get invest in a company that you don't need to involve in the day-to-day running of the company. So once you do that, you have a quiet life. You don't deal with stress, right? And you get the profit at the end. So that is something that you might want to think about. And coming back to your second question, the setback that I'll tell you is just societal. Societal. If you are ready be to listen to people's ideas or maybe to be influenced by people's perspective about yourself, you will not achieve anything, right? Because people tend to discourage you on everything that you want to do, thinking that, oh, maybe she's just she's just it's just Rebecca now. I know Rebecca. What can she what can she offer? Maybe she's just writing. What can Rebecca write that I don't know? So all of those statements will come to demoralize you and not uh, um, make you achieve what you really your set goals. So you must be able to realize this, and those were my greatest setbacks. People not qualifying me as somebody who can advise them on investments because I'm not Donald Trump or I'm not Bill Gates or I'm not Elon Musk, right? But unfortunately, this is information that is lacking in the system, and now people are getting to know, people are getting to buy, people are getting. So you must be able to be determined on your goals. Once you set those goals, be ready to achieve them. Put the risk tolerance at maybe 90% and make sure that you want to be, if at all you have the vision, because the vision must be there and the goal must be there. You must be excited about the goal to be able to work on it. Because if you're excited about it, nobody's going to discourage you about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Elosa?
Okay, thank you, Ernest. Yes, kindly let me just, if you will allow me,
Yeah,
to
go
go
ahead.
back to my first question. Yes, regarding the first question, like how do I I'm just
Reconcile.
needing your advice right now. Yes, how do you go about it? Cause like at the same time, I am an entrepreneur, okay,
Oh, okay,
but I
okay.
also would like to invest, which is, okay, I have like it's mostly a startup. So at which point would you advise me to go into investment, to like invest
Right now. That's a simple one. But
right now?
I really want to know more about your business so that I can be able to know where to go, right? Because if, for
I
example,
am an
somebody,
entrepreneur. So it's
oh,
all about agriculture. Like in my
oh,
country, we have this, yeah, we do have plenty of land, plenty of water resources, but
mhm.
we are not really farming, and
Yes.
people are actually dying from food insecurity. So it's all about producing food and, yeah, selling food.
You're already investing. Do you realize that?
Uh, Sorry, I lost you. You said?
I said you're already investing. Do you realize that?
Um, okay, expound, please.
Okay. So fortunately, Rebecca is already investing. She's an entrepreneur, but she's already investing, right?
Yeah.
In the concept that we are studying right now about investing and when to invest and investing before 40, I can hear from your voice you're not 40. You're not 40. You have that time.
Oh,
Yeah, and believe me or not, the area that you are into is the greatest investments of all time. Whether you like it or not, somebody is going to work, is going to be hungry, he's going to come back to you. Whoever is living anywhere, all you need to do expand that business to be able to have a restaurant. That's
okay.
all you need. That's all you need. You will testify in 5 years. Not even 5 years. That 5 years is a long time. Then how much do
Well,
you
thank
need?
you so much.
Or you just need to get determined because I know you're living somewhere. All you need to start is to start where you are right now.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
That was
welcome.
awesome.
Yeah,
Great question, Rebecca. I love people
that's a great
who are
question. I love
investing
that.
in
That's
agriculture.
practical, very practical question.
Because Central African Republic, you're from Central African Republic, right?
Yeah.
Huge land,
That's right. Yes.
huge land,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but people can't
Yes.
have food, you know.
Yeah.
People don't have
It's
food, and
abnormal.
we are just like
It's,
about 6
it's
million.
you know. So
Very much abnormal. Yes.
very, very much abnormal. And calling upon people around Central African Republic, please go. Don't struggle in your country if you're struggling in Cameroon. It's just you cross. Go start your agro-business farms there. People need supply of food. Because how do I know this? So there is, are you from Bangi?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
there is a peacekeeping mission from Rwanda. From Rwanda. I'm sure you might have seen the soldiers peacekeeping missions in Central African Republic.
Yes.
They went there, and
Yes.
these guys, like the whole villages, they started farming. They started helping people organize them to farm little farms, little farms, little farms, little farms. But it was shocking that there was no food and huge people, huge land, empty. You
Yes.
can't find mangoes. You can't find like little fruits. So you're like, how do these people survive? You know, very
Yes.
interesting.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Hello.
actually import pretty much everything.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
thank you, France.
Hello, sir. Go ahead. Ask your question, and I will wrap up. Hello, sir. Are you there?
Yes, thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Ernest, for your intervention. That's really interesting. I have two questions. The first one is if I would be an investor for the project of another person. What are the main points that we must review in his or her project before investing on it? And the second question is, as an owner of a small business here in Madagascar, I would ask you if we already have small business already ongoing. That means start what relevant advices could you suggest to us? Uh,
I think she's having some internet issues, but I got the first question.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll answer the first question because
Yeah.
she was breaking off on the second question. I didn't get the second question. And yes, the main issue that comes with investing with partners or different people is being able to do a research. You must be able to research about the company, whether it is legit. Even Bitcoin that was talking about it a while ago, people get into fraudulent yeah, coins that you invest in them within 5 years, they are no more. You have to be very diligent about your research. Contact mentors, contact people who have already been there, or maybe do a thorough research to be able to know more about the company before investing. Um, I talked about reputable companies, which I know that, okay, 100%. These are very valid companies, right? That obviously you'll be able to invest in without any fear. But someone who is starting, like a startup, like somebody who wants to get into investing, you won't be able to get into Nvidia, Microsoft, or maybe Apple or maybe Amazon, right? Because the stocks are very expensive now. So, but you have to go into penny stocks. You will do research about those little companies that are growing, that have started growing, which you believe that they have a future. For example, let me say you have a company that just started and is dealing with AI. 100%, this is a startup company, but the future is very bright, right? All you need is to do your research to know whether or not this is a legit company. This company is not fraudulent. It has registered locations, and I can verify. I can contact some people. You know, I can even talk on a video call to see where they are. You do that background. We call it background checks, right? When you apply for visas to go to travel, maybe I'll use the example of Canada. Canada does a lot of background checks that you don't know. Before they grant you a visa, they have done a lot of research about you, right? So this is what you have to do. You have to do background checks to be able to identify whether or not this is a company that I really want to invest in. I make examples of Bitcoin, that people get into coins that just last 5 years and they are no more. If you invest in those type of companies, you are losing your investments, right? But I don't know if you might come back for the second question, because the second question, as she was breaking up,
Yeah.
I didn't hear that actually. So if somebody heard, if you and you want to tell us less, oh, she's
Yeah.
still here. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I can repeat it. Here in Madagascar, because I'm from Madagascar, um, it's really difficult to get in investor. So I would ask if we already have a small business already ongoing, that's me, a startup which already function. So what relevant advices could you suggest for us to investor for it?
I think
I figured out the question. Although it's not that clear, but I figured out the question. So
yeah.
if you are already an existing investor and it's a startup, right? What areas do I want to advise her to be able to leverage to improve that business? I think that is what I got. If that is the question, then once somebody asks that same question, which I talked about, leveraging the already existing opportunities that you have, leveraging the already existing opportunities that you have in that area, which you will be able to tap into to build that, to expand on that business. So one of which is e-commerce, which I've identified in chapter 10 of my book. You must be able to leverage the social media if you are already a startup. So all you need is marketing. You have to develop a marketing strategy. You must pay people. That is where I am right now. I'll use myself as an example. When you write a book, you are already an author. I'm an award-winning author, and I have to be able to make sure that people consume this book. So I'm already a startup business, which I must be able now to leverage the existing opportunities that I have to be able to get myself to the market. So getting myself to the market, I have to pay influencers. I have to pay people who will be able to market my product. So where you are now, right now, is where I am. So I'm using myself as an example. So if I can tap into that, then that will be a perfect strategy. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Wonderful discussions, contributions. Um, just wrapping up to the end now. And so, Ernest, what summarize key takeaways people should read, harness, take? We've spoke about a lot, but what are your biggest three takeaways you think we could, harness and build businesses? Because the greatest misery of Africans or Black people in the world is financial freedom. Everywhere you see a Black person, I don't care whether in North America, Africa, Brazil, wherever, we don't have control of our financial independence. So investment is one of the ways we can achieve that. So what are the three takeaways we should really take into considerations as we wrap up? And please also tell us, where can we get that wonderful book? Because we've talked about it, people are curious. How can we get it?
I will love to start with the second one, where you want to get the book. That is the most important one. because the book provides a roadmap,
Right.
and that roadmap is what you need. So it basically answers the first question. So let me give you. First is on Amazon. If you search 10 investments you must make by Ernest Lequimboh, you have the book prop up. It was just published on the 21st of November. So it was launched on the 30th of November here in Canada. And I will also reference you to the book website itself, which is investmentsbefore40.com. I really believe that before 40, if you take stock of this book, you are guaranteed for life, 100%. 100%. And it's not a book to share. You cannot read today and go give it to someone to read. You have to keep it as yours because you fall back to it every time. You fall back to it every time. Believe me, you fall back to the steps every time. You cannot just read and have everything figured out. You have to reference it. You have to go back to it and take those steps. It's just like a guide that every home needs. And it's a second Bible for Christians and a second Quran for Muslims. Because after reading your Bible, you have to action those investment ideas that you have. Then coming back to the first question. The first question was, what are the 3 takeaways? You must be able to identify your niche. Where do I want to go? What are those areas that I want to invest in? And I want to invest in something that I will love for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Don't invest in something that you at some point say, oh, I don't love it anymore. Oh, I want it. Then you start at fresh, start building. Building from scratch is the toughest thing you will face in investments. People get to know you only when you have started like having that money, having that profit. But once you're starting, nobody knows you, and nobody knows the sacrifice you're going through. So you don't want to go through that twice. So eventually you have to settle down, have it like step back, think about what you want to do. You must be able to identify this niche, craft the ideas, write them down. You must do this. This is the first step. And secondly, you must take stock of the cutting edge technologies. You must have the idea. The idea must take stock of cutting edge technologies. You must be able to identify something that has to deal with maybe selling or producing a service. You must have something that you're selling. That's one. If you don't have something that you're selling, you must be providing a service. In this life, I don't know who you're working for. I don't know, even if you're working for Bill Gates, you must have something that you are selling. Either you're providing a service or you have something that people will buy from you.
Yeah.
Essentially, for a start, this is what you need. That's it. And once you get to this level, you start now leveraging the opportunities that come with it.
Thank you very much. We can't exceed from there, so it's already 6 minutes to time. So thank you very much, Ernest, and I hope everyone learned. Get your copy, read it, practice it, and then you make history, or you make your dreams come true. So people are wondering, like, I don't have much capital. Have you ever thought about people you know of in your communities? They never went to school. They didn't have a salary to earn. They started selling some chicken, goats, and now are millionaires. And they are employing people with degrees. So my
Sorry, Enoch, to not cutting you off, but I got another meeting, like I said, in a few minutes, and I want to go. I just want to say that you can follow me on
Absolutely.
LinkedIn or Facebook, or maybe you can always send me an email. Those are the 3 options. We'll always chat, and I'll provide you a lot of information that we can be able to leverage those opportunities. And thank you so much, and thanks for inviting me again.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Ernest. And we'll see you. So if you need, I can
Thank
share
you.
his contacts. You can reach out to him if you want
Yeah.
collaboration or something.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. We appreciate your time. I was asking, have you ever thought how those people get into business and now they're millionaires. So capital, when you look around, we can get capital. And when you look around, you can get solutions. When you look around, you can get way ahead and find solutions for your investments, for your future. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter the degrees you have, whether you're a financial consultant, you're an accountant, you are an economist, you're a politician. It doesn't really matter. What matters is how much you got. So let's use our wisdom, our knowledge to better our lives better and produce reinvestment. So thank you very much. And we'll share this recording so you can really visit back about it. So thank you. Merci beaucoup. And we'll see you next time.